Okay. Don't adjust your screen. This is not the usual LawnFatherrr that you're used to seeing. One of the things that I've been doing, at least prepping for winter, like there's all this time off that you have. And I always like finding a new hobby or doing something new. So since I've been streaming, I felt like maybe I can take that passion and energy that I use towards like finding a new skill and add that to my love of streaming, kind of marry them together. So we're gonna give this a shot. We're gonna This is like the first kickoff, like the proof of concept for learning with LawnFatherrr. So the goal is we're gonna find a particular skill or piece of knowledge that we can turn into a series and dive in head first. Like, I'm not going to be the expert in the room. I'm going to be someone who's learning like a student. And hopefully, we find resources of something that will help educate, well, educate me. But if you're here, if you're watching live or if you're watching the recording on YouTube, it just becomes a resource for you to like pile into and learn from too. So, win-win maybe? I don't know. We'll see. It could blow up in our face and completely not turn into anything, or it becomes a good series that we keep on feeding. And so I was kind of torn as to like what we should do as our first go. So my career is in technology. So that was kind of like one of the first things that came to mind was like find something technical and dive into that. Other things that came to mind though were like it was pretty broad. There was things like photography, which I'm really passionate about. Um, Cooking is fun, but it's kind of hard to do from your office. You'd have to like create a whole rig to do that. Um, Learning how to tie knots. I don't know, like all these things that are like life skills, whether they be technical or professional or personal. And I said, let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens if you just like dive in, create a series. You might get a following, you might not, but might as well test the waters and see how it goes. So, what you see on the screen right now, over here, the Odin Project comes into play. So you talked about technology. There's a lot of tutorials out there that can take you from being beginner level or completely like I have zero knowledge about something in the technical realm and taking you from that skill set to pretty like intermediate, like definitely above beginner level, but dangerous enough to like, get shit done, even if it's like a pet project. So imagine if you were in college again and you had to like level up your skills. Odin Project helps kind of prepare you for that. So I've heard, right? Again, I'm coming in as a complete newbie to the Odin Project. What I have used before, I'll type it in right here actually, is freecodecamp.org. So these two are kind of like, I wish, dude, do they not have like a dark mode? Because they need one. That's really obnoxious to look at. For Free Code Camp, very similar, like helping build foundational skills, right? And here's like the various paths that they all offer. Um, and they kind of boil it down to certifications that you can get by finishing these courses. And so I've done this one already. I think I started this one and I've not touched any of these, but these have been added in the more like recent years. But like backend development API certification, that's like, you know, you talk about careers in technology, like there's a lot of these, um, almost all of them you can say, that have um, demand in the technology field to fill bodies right now and in near future. So I'm not doing this for career purposes, but I'm doing it kind of just to make sure I can stay sharp and learn new skills. So it was having to decide between the Odin Project and Free Code Camp. And having done Free Code Camp already, I liked it a lot. So I wanted to try something new. Odin Project had some really great reviews. And the plus side here is they're doing things differently than Free Code Camp. Whereas Free Code Camp, a lot of the your work is actually embedded into the browser. So like they're where you're writing your code is in the browser, and they're doing all these tests alongside inside the browser. You're not having that true development experience that you would of using an IDE, like something like VS Code. Also, like when it comes to like publishing your work, sharing it out to the community, getting feedback, none of that was there, at least when I was doing Free Code Camp. So Odin Project does cross into that realm. Do I know what it's going to be like? Absolutely not. So you're on this journey with me. Let's see how it goes. What we're going to do is just read a little bit about what the Odin Project is. I'm going to narrate. So just in case you're like not the type to do a lot of reading, I'm not either. Um, but you can get a little bit of overview as to like what the Odin Project is, why why it was created, why it's beneficial. It's one of those what I wish I had when I was learning resources. Not everyone has access to a computer science education or the funds to attend an intensive coding school. Neither of those is right for everyone anyway. This project is designed to fill in the gaps for people who are trying to hack it on their own but still want a high quality education. Here's their belief system, free and accessible education. I'm all for that. You learn best by building. I am that type of learner, by the way. Motivation's fueled by working with others. Huge community, Discord, Facebook. There's a lot of different things associated with Odin Project. I'm a Discord user, so it made sense for me to like jump in there. Open source is best. Our curriculum and website are available on GitHub, and we encourage students to actually contribute to the project itself. That's awesome, isn't it? Overview. Look at that. Nearly a million learners, 5,000 plus contributors, and it's been 9 years since it was founded. You can obviously read this on your own. I'm not going to go through all the details here. But definitely, I think we made a good choice of going here. And then here's your Discord link. So follow through on that. I've already joined the Discord. I immediately found it to be valuable to answering one of the questions I had about operating systems because I'm running a Windows machine. But as you can see here, we're actually in a virtual Linux machine. So that first asterisk I'm gonna introduce here. Um, I'm a Windows user. I'm streaming through Windows, an application called OBS, which helps me stream right to YouTube. So I didn't want to have to install a new machine. Now, the Odin project is designed to work best with Mac OS or Linux. So particularly Linux, like Ubuntu Linux. And I've been using Ubuntu for probably 15 plus years now. So the light version of Ubuntu is called Xubuntu with an X. And one of the first steps I went through, which I'm not going to do during the stream here because it was a lengthy process, was to download a virtual machine application and then install and now run Ubuntu here. So what you're seeing here on the screen is my virtual machine. Even though I'm on my Windows box, my virtual machine is what you're seeing on the stream, right? So without further ado, we're going to jump in and take a look at what's available. And I'm gonna do this like very like unofficially. I'm not gonna have like an agenda for every stream. I'm gonna take it as far as I can get it, and then when this gets published to YouTube for like recording, um, I'll make sure that like indicate how far we got right in the project. And my hopes are that if I keep doing this live and recorded, that we might have people jumping in live and start chatting with. Maybe. If not, we can always just keep on doing the live that becomes a recording and it's fun. Or I might switch and say, well, they should always be recorded and that way I can do multiple sessions that get pushed out. Multiple recordings get pushed out so that you almost have like a lot of chapters published at the same time instead of like, leaving people hungry and coming back next Sunday or something like that. So we'll see how it goes. Like again, this is the kickoff. Um, we might get feedback. No, maybe nobody will notice this. We don't know, so we'll find out. Not very particularly popular subject on YouTube to search for, but if it is, um, at least there's another resource that's getting put out there that people might be able to leverage. So as you see, I've created my account here. Set a learning goal in your settings. I've not done that yet, so let's see. I'm going to hide the window for a second because I might have some sensitive information, so I'm going to hide that for a second. And then my email learning goal. Yep, I can actually do that now. Turn that back on for y'all. So learning goal to learn some new skills and share that content with others who are looking to level up. Save that. And we can go back to the dashboard. So there's my newly updated goal for the LawnFatherrr. If you didn't know, if you're joining for the first time, by the way, if you stumbled upon this, I'm usually a Twitch gaming streamer. So you're like, if you are familiar with me being a Twitch gaming streamer, and now you're seeing me doing this content, I'm just switching it up a little bit. I'm still here to do this Twitch gaming stuff, but I felt like this could be an additional thing. Now, Foundations is like the base level that they expect everybody to get familiarized with before you jump in to the deep end. And with the deep end, we'll get down to, to the deep end details later. But you can have two paths you can choose, and we'll look through both of those paths once we finish foundations to kind of determine like which one's gonna be right for us. Okay. So here's our foundation course. I'm gonna switch over to this view because it's gonna be larger. I'm gonna move my camera to a place where it's not as obstructive. About yay big. How about that? Okay. So, like I said, you're gonna see me running through it. So I'm gonna be um, reading out loud because I'm trying to absorb this information at the same time you are. And when I feel like I'm ready to tap out, then I'll just tell you guys, time to tap out. Okay. Overview. This is where it all begins. A hands-on introduction to all the essential tools you'll need to build real working websites. You'll learn what web developers actually do, the foundations you'll need for later courses. Okay. Sounds like there's going to be some reading involved early on, right, to understand the what, the why, and not too much into the how. But that's what I'm getting the indication of. How this course will work, introduction to web development, motivation and mindset, asking for help, join the community. And then we have some prereqs, computer basics, how does the web work, installation overview, installations, and this is what I was hinting at earlier. I've already done the installations because I don't want to eat up time in the stream. So we're just going to move on. Once we get past that, I'll kind of just zip past it. Text editors, command line basics, setting up Git, introduction to Git, Git basics. Then we have HTML section, introduction to HTML and CSS, CSS foundations, Flexbox, JavaScript basics, the back end, and then conclusion. So all of that is considered part of the foundations, not diving hard, super hard into the deep end of the pool. This is all the foundational knowledge they expect you to have. Having done the free code camp, I'll tell you that's very similar. All of this stuff that you're seeing here, I'm not sure how out of date it is for free code camp, but all of this stuff you're seeing here um, very closely aligns with how free code camp tackled it as well, minus the Git basic stuff. We didn't even touch Git stuff when I was doing free code camp. So let's jump right into our first section of introduction. And the first chapter of that is how this course will work. Okay. Hopefully the bandwidth is at a place where it's not too fuzzy. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more if you think it's going to be helpful. 400 is a little bit too much, I think. Let's see. 300? Let's try it out. It's responsive, so it'll hopefully just shrink in place. Introduction. Odin Project is an open... Ooh, shit, that's a little bit too big for me. Hold on, sorry, y'all. Okay, it's open source community dedicated to providing the best information sources to take you from zero to a full stack developer. More information can be found at the Odin Project about page. And they're really expecting you, they put all these links here, they're expecting you to actually follow through. If you're interested in more information about something, they want you to follow through on the link. Like these links are intentionally put there. And I've already done this part and I want you to do the same. I think I already walked our group through it. Like I just walked us through this a few minutes ago, but in case you're interested more, I do encourage you to follow through the link. In this unit, we'll learn about how the web works and start thinking about the basics of computer and web programming. Each of the following sections and lessons represents essential baseline knowledge. Even if you have no intention of becoming a web developer yourself, I'm not. This material should help you gain a useful understanding of the moving parts involved in creating and serving content on the web. Let's see, if I do a space, yeah, space, I'll do that. So they'll do like a page down instead of me going line by line. We'll start by getting familiar with the internet and your own computer. Next, we'll work on setting up a development environment and learning about Git and GitHub. Then, we'll go over the basics of front-end technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript before stepping into the back end with a brief foray, fancy language, foray that covers the basic concepts of back-end technologies. By the end of this unit, you should not only understand how the web works, but also be able to identify and differentiate between all the technologies that you will use to build your own web applications. You'll be able to build a simple web page, style it, and add minor elements of interactivity while working comfortably from the command line. This section intentionally covers a very broad range of topics. It's silly to go diving straight into server-side programming without having a context for what it is and why it's useful, and why you should learn it. How it works. This curriculum works by pulling together the best content from across the internet for learning a particular topic. In each lesson, we'll introduce the topic and try to provide some useful context before pointing you to external resources made by others. Again, that's the beauty of this, I think, is like they're helping you like learn how to fish, right? And giving you these links that are embedded into the readings that you have so you can like drill down even further. If this is like something that's unfamiliar with you and you want to learn more about it, they're like setting you up for success, which I love. Most lessons will contain questions that you should be able to answer before moving on. Some of the lessons will ask you to complete exercises. In addition, we provide several projects throughout the curriculum to help you grow your understanding by actually building things. Love it. Try not to think of the Odin Project or programming as a class in school. It's not material you learn all at once to take a test and then pass or fail. You can think of it as a snowball. Love that. You yourself are a snowball. You're rolling down a hill full of snow. The further you roll, the more snow will stick to you. Sure, snow will also fall off of you and you'll forget things often, but that's just part of the process. Don't be scared if you get to a project and you feel like you haven't retained or memorized anything. That's the nature, or that's natural. and happens to everyone. Information will come back to you as you start solving your problems one at a time, relying on Google and the Odin community for help. A note about language. Attracts people from all around the world who aspire to learn how to become developers. Please be aware this curriculum is written in English and maintained by English speakers who are not able or expected to translate it for you. All right, well, I'm going to skip this section because I speak the English. What comes next? Once you've completed this course, you should feel comfortable with the building blocks of web programming, but itching to dig deeper. Though we spend a fair bit of time digging into each of the major topics in this course, it's really just a taste of what comes next and all the cool stuff you can do with it. The last lesson of this course will give you an opportunity to choose between a full stack JavaScript and a full stack Rails path, both of which are designed to take the foundation built in this course and build it into an applied understanding of the material. Each path will focus on taking these raw building blocks and honing them into highly functional skill set. Let's see, maintained by professionals. Yeah, everything in the curriculum is intentionally included and vital for you to become a successful programmer. Each portion is built on everything that came before it, so skipping things will create pockets of non-understanding. We're not going to be skipping anything, by the way. Not the goal. Don't skip anything. Do not skip anything. Additional resources. Is it required to consider supplemental? It looks like this lesson doesn't have any additional resources. Okay, cool, cool, cool. View the course. I'm going to zoom out a little bit now to 200. Okay, how this course will work, I'm going to call that Dunsky. Introduction to web development, sorry. What do web developers do? In short, they build and maintain websites. Thank you. Often work for clients who are trying to get their product or service onto the web. The work is typically very project focused and involves collaborating with a team that helps to coordinate the client's needs into the end product. The client could be a tech company, organization, or government. The work could involve front end, back end, or full stack development. Web development could be a good profession for you if you like solving logical problems, building useful things, and experimenting with new technologies. Web developers in high demand, da 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 da. We know that. Nope, not looking for job opportunities, so we're going to skip that. Types of web developers, here we go. Earlier we mentioned that web development work could be in front end, back end, or full stack. What do these terms mean? Front end is the stuff you see on the website in your browser, including the presentation of content and user interface elements like the navigation bar. Front end developers use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and their relevant frameworks to ensure that content is presented effectively and that users have an excellent experience. Backend refers to the guts of the application which live on the server. The backend stores and serves program data to ensure that the front end has what it needs. This process can become very complicated when a website has millions of users. Backend developers use programming languages like Java, Python, Ruby, and JavaScript to work with data. Then we have full stack, comfortable working with both front and back end. At the Odin Project, we focus on teaching you full stack development, covering all aspects of web development. Okay, for more information or for more detail, Udacity has a great blog um, detailing these three dev careers, front end, back end, full stack. Types of careers, we're going to skip out on this one. Tools, okay, these are some of the basic tools you will use regularly. You may not know what they are now, but you well certainly will going forward. Computer, Google, a text editor, CLI or command line interface, Stack Overflow, everyone's best friend, Git and GitHub. Okay, motivation. Learning to code is incredibly rewarding, but can also be difficult and frustrating. Strongest asset you can have as a student are desire to build a problem-solving mind and persistence in the face of setbacks. Excuse me. Web development industry has a long history of successful developers with varying backgrounds. So people tend to care more about what you've actually built than how you got there. Very important. I think that I agree with that as well. So why Odin? I want you to know that this will not be easy. Plenty of other online curriculums for beginners, but they're often taught in an extremely isolated and controlled environment and cover only a specific topic. Odin Project takes a realistic view of what you need to know, and it has you set up and work in your own environment, much like you'll be doing when you get a job. I love it. It acknowledges that you need a wide variety of skill sets and languages to reach an employable level. Odin Project is constantly evolving because of people like you who get further along in the curriculum and pay it forward by incrementally improving our content over time. Once you start to feel comfortable with the tools, start hacking on open source projects like the Odin Project itself. The more you contribute, the more you will learn about what you can do, and the closer you will be to getting or being hireable. These projects will also look great on your resume. Conclusion. I'm just reading through it real quickly. I don't want to have to read every single word for y'all. In this foundation course, you take a journey through an entire spectrum of topics, deep dive into these topics, dozens of scripts, projects, websites to cement those skills that will get you hired. Getting all the way there is going to be challenging. In fact, you should check out the why learning to code is so damn hard, so you have a good idea of what the journey ahead is like. But what worthwhile thing is truly easy? That's true. Yes, it's going to be challenging, but it's also going to be fun, and it might even be life-changing too. Ooh. What are you waiting for? Additional resources, tons of them here. Again, these are intentionally designed um, to have you dive a little bit deeper. And look what they referenced here. Free code camp, right? Things I wish someone had told me when I was learning how to code. So in a way, they're like compete against each other, but they're also like leveraging one another. Love that they're linking out to free code camp here to give you a little bit more information. All right, let's call this one complete. And let's go to the next one. Motivation and mindset. Never talked this much in my life. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'm just making sure that my live stream is going. And it is. That's good. Okay. Introduction. Learn to code. Incredibly rewarding. Hold on, sorry. Difficult and frustrating. Like any skill worth knowing. It takes time to acquire and it can be learned in a weekend or even a month. With that said, we believe anyone can learn how to program as long as they're willing to put in the time and effort. Let's talk about motivation, because I'll be honest, sometimes I lack motivation in life, right? Like there's procrastination, there's just like laziness, whatever you want to say. So let's zoom up here. Take a moment, think about why you've decided to learn programming. Is it fulfilling career that pays well? Creative outlet. I'm doing it for the creative outlet for sure. Determined to develop the skills and abilities to build any app you can think of. Maybe, I don't know. Or do you want to start your own company by turning an app into reality? That sounds pretty fun. Could be a combination of these things. Growth mindset. Your mindset is very important when teaching yourself any new skill, not just programming. Your mindset will have more of an impact on your chances of success than just about anything else. Talks about persistence and grit. We're not going to dive too much into this because this is really like getting you pumped up to jump in. I think I'm there, right? Awesome resources here. The learning process. When learning, your mind will consistently switch between focus mode and diffuse mode. Focus mode occurs when you're consciously focusing on learning, reading, and watching videos, or working on a project. Diffuse mode occurs subconsciously At times when you are not actively learning, such as when you're doing the dishes, exercising, or sleeping, in this state, your mind goes about the business of connecting what you've been learning to the other things you know. I love that. I love having those moments of like realization. In short, understand it, practice it, and finally teach it. Teaching what you know to others is a great way to solidify what you've learned. Yes. And it can often reveal holes in your knowledge that you wouldn't have identified otherwise. What to do when you're stuck? Google it, take a break, or ask for help in the chat. And the chat goes to the Discord, by the way. Manage your study time. That's what I got to figure out is how we're going to schedule this out, right? Because it's Sunday night and it's 11 p.m. Eastern, and I want to make sure that I'm staying fresh on these. So we're going to see how it goes. Let's talk about the pitfalls. Procrastination, guilty. Solution to procrastination is the Pomodoro technique. The idea is set a timer for 25 minutes and to work on a task until the timer goes off. If you get distracted or interrupted during the 25 minutes, start the 25 minutes of work again. Successfully focus on 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, repeat. 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break. After you completed 4 25-minute blocks of work, take a longer 15 to 30-minute break. It's great for avoiding procrastination. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And there's something called the tomato timer that we can use. Not taking breaks. You get material. You may feel compelled to continuously study for a long period of time. Yeah. Won't worry about that. No digital distractions here. We got our virtual machine pretty clean. And there won't be any junk to keep us distracted. Rabbit holes. Comparing yourself to others. Okay. One hell of a good pep talk here. Yep. I'm good with my typing skills. I've been a damn good typist for um, since like middle school, 7th grade. Asking for help. I'm gonna start zooming through these a little bit just because, like, certain things are very self-explanatory. So until we get to something of meaty, I'm gonna keep on scrolling through. Okay. Lesson overview. Explain techniques for asking programming questions. Explain and avoid qualities of bad questions. Ask effective and well-informed questions. How to get the best help possible. Always provide your code and the surrounding context. Yes. Ask about the problem at hand, not the solution itself. Yes. Don't take asking for more context to heart. Yeah, like, don't get offended if someone's like, could you tell me a little bit more about the problem? Assignment, read and bookmark this amazing article by Gordon Zhu. It is a great reference to refer whenever you find yourself needing to ask for help. Then there's the XY problem, which is a common pitfall both new experienced programmers fall into when asking questions. Most popular programming help resource. It's important to avoid becoming a help vampire. Yes. Be respectful to the communities or persons you are asking for help. Goes in depth what a vampire is. Gives those who help others the tools to empower. Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna be like we don't want to become dependent, right? Alright, let's go to this. Questions for you to check your understanding of this lesson on your own. If you have trouble answering questions, click it and review the material it links to. Name at least one thing your question should always include. Do I click this? Oh, it bookmarked. Okay, I was like wondering what the hell happened. It bookmarked over to that section. Now it makes sense. describe the XY problem. XY problem is asking about your attempted solution rather than your actual problem. Describe 3 attributes of a help vampire. Ask the same tired questions others ask. Clearly lack the ability or inclination to ask the almighty Google. Refuse to take the time to ask coherent, specific questions. Yeah, we know some of these folks, right? You've definitely ran into people like this before in your life. Okay. Let me see where we are in the curriculum so far, so we can gauge how we are doing. Okay, we're almost through the introduction. Join the community. I've already done this. Join the Discord. Asking for help. Again, we're focused a lot on the soft skills and not very tangible things in the introduction, but I want to go through them just because it's important for us to make sure we're absorbing the right stuff, right? In the chat rooms, codes can be displayed differently from normal sentences by using backticks, 2 of them. Okay. They're showing you how you can put your code um, into the Discord in a way that's going to be legible to others. So that's good. Giphies, yep. If you're not familiar with using Slack or Discord, I would definitely recommend doing that. That I did not know. You can put a plus plus after someone's username and give them points. Chat features, how to help others. A lot of, yeah, these are just, again, soft skills. Assignment, first create a free GitHub account. Let's do that right now. As you will discover, GitHub is an integral part of the development. So open up a new tab. I might have to, oh gosh, okay. Let's go with LawnFatherrr, of course. Gonna go dark for a second while I fill this in. Filling in the account create section of GitHub. And now I have to check my 2-factor authentication. I'll be back. I'll bring the screen back in a second, y'all, okay? It's just me. I'm a student. What am I interested in? Yeah, collaborative coding. That's pretty much it. Community. Got my free GitHub account initializing right now. Okay, that's done. Bring that window back. I've already signed into the Discord server. Okay, self-explanatory. Are off and 11:11 p.m. right now, and we have completed the first section of foundations, which is introductions. Again, a lot of reading. Um, and it was really like, intangible, soft skill kind of things. However, really important for us to make sure we got through this, understood what we needed to do. We also obviously created um, our GitHub account, and from there, I think it's a good time for us to break. And next time we continue, which might be tomorrow, maybe it was about what, 45 minutes, right? So let's do another 45 minutes tomorrow. And what we'll do is we'll continue with the prerequisite section, computer basics, how the web works. Again, a lot of um, introductory knowledge, but I think it's okay for us to go over it one more time, if you're not familiar with it. And then we get into Git basics, and then we get into a little bit more of the technical stuff. So I think it's a great time for us to like stop, take a breather before we're going to jump into part two or stream number two. So hopefully you enjoy this. If you found this useful, please leave a comment, subscribe, and let me know how we could improve this. Because I'm doing it for myself, but also for anybody who's going to want to grow with me. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to let me know. And otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care.